Golden State Media Concepts social media podcast. Time to hashtag everything. We talk about all the fun, crazy stories on social media. From Instagram to Facebook, Twitter to Tumblr, or probably even Friendster. Join us each week as we explore the quirky side of social media. It's the Golden State Media Concepts social media podcast.
It's simple, such a sad song. The one that we rely on to get us.
Hello and welcome to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Sarah, and we are together again to talk about what is going on in the world of social media, what is trending, what is showing up on our news feeds, all of that good stuff. And our first story makes me feel old, although I should have realized that this was the case because it is the 25th anniversary of Friends this fall, and yeah, when I think about it, I do realize that it's been 25 years since it came out, but it doesn't feel that long since I remember starting to watch it. But when I realize how old I was and where in the world I was when it started, yeah, it has been 25 years. At any rate, to celebrate this 25-year anniversary, there is a Google Doodle. I don't know if anybody talked about it on your social media news today, but it popped up on mine several times. And this is about the Easter eggs that are probably very well known to Friends fans. So if you Google, let's say Friends Ross, and then that comes up and there's a picture of a couch next to it. So you click on the couch and it changes, so it's straight and then it angles up a little bit and you hear pivot. Yeah, so you click it more than once and it keeps saying pivot, of course, and pivot, as he said. If you clicked one too many times, though, you'll hear Ross say, okay, I don't think it's going to pivot anymore. And I did not click it too many times, so I did not know that was a possibility. If you do the Chandler search, you get, oh, it's so cute. His armchair pops up, which isn't the cute part. But then Chick and Duck come out and they just waddle all around the screen or back and forth across the screen. It's very adorable. Rachel's I didn't think was that exciting. It was just a picture of her hair. It wasn't really interactive. It took you to pictures of Jennifer Aniston with the Rachel, which her hair became iconic for. And so the other three you'll just have to go look for because they're cute. If you're a Friends fan, then these will definitely make you smile because they are some of the moments. I mean, pivot. Many memes have been made out of pivot, which actually reminds me, oh my gosh, for fans who search for Friends Glossary, I did not know this part. For Friends Glossary, the search engines will pull definitions for unfloopy, phalange, hand twin, and Mississippi. Just in case you needed reminding. And actually, I had forgotten about a couple of those, so I may have to go Google Friends Glossary. But also, I learned something rather interesting this week about memes. And this, again, is where you're going to know that I'm a dork because I subscribe to the Daily Word from Merriam-Webster Dictionary, and they told me where the origin of the word meme came from. And I've always wondered that, frankly. So since this is the social media podcast, news podcast, it seems logical that we should talk about memes. And maybe you've wondered where that word came from because it's kind of a dumb word. I mean, meme, it doesn't make a lot of sense. When we think of memes, we usually think of, pictures with captions or things that pop up on our social media feeds. But the word meme isn't new. It actually dates to evolutionary biologist Richard Dawkins' 1976 book, The Selfish Gene. And again, this is from Merriam-Webster, where it functioned with a meaning other than its current most common one. And that's as kind of a, pop culture sort of thing. In Dawkins' conception of the term, it is a unit of cultural transmission, the cultural equivalent of a gene. And his book is quoted as saying, we need a name for the new replicator, a noun that conveys the idea of a unit of cultural transmission or a unit of imitation. Mini-meme comes from a suitable Greek root, but I want a monosyllable that sounds a bit like gene. I hope my classicist friends will forgive me if I abbreviate not mini-meme, M-I-M-E-M-E, meme, to meme. If it is any consolation, it could alternatively be thought of as being related to memory, or to the French word meme. It should be pronounced to rhyme with cream. So it's not mimi, it's meme. And then he goes on to describe what it is actually intended to refer to. Examples of memes are tunes, ideas, catchphrases, clothes, fashions, ways of making pots, or of building arches. Just as genes propagate themselves in the gene pool by leaping from body to body via sperms or eggs, so memes propagate themselves in the meme pool by leaping from brain to brain via a process which, in the broad sense, can be called imitation. So there you go. So memes, in that, I mean, that's the way they were originally thought of. It's definitely different. I'm not sure when Mr. Dawkins wrote that book he had any idea of how it was going to evolve over time. But I don't know, would he be pleased with the current iteration of memes? I don't really know the answer, but I'm so happy to have finally discovered the origin of that word and to figure out what the heck. And now I'm less annoyed with it because it used to just seem dumb. Now I know there's an actual story behind it. This next story makes my heart happy, and it kept popping up on my newsfeed, my Facebook newsfeed, from several people. One friend said it to me directly, and then others posted about it. And that is that little people, there are now yellow submarine little people, Beatles yellow submarine. First of all, I know yellow submarine, it's bright, it's colorful, it's crazy. But there are so many figurines with yellow submarine, and I would be fine with little people that weren't yellow submarine, and Beatles little people that weren't yellow submarine. But when you look at them on the shopping page on Fisher Price, it says, get ready to rock and roll with a little help from your friends. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr with the special edition Celebrity Little People's figure pack. Each member of the iconic band, the Beatles, is brought down to little people toy size, and they are dressed, of course, in their classic yellow submarine outfits, and they're adorable, and I would like them. So I need to have somebody who loves me buy me little people. Or I love me, I could buy them for myself. That would be fine. Although, wow, it's showing Walmart out of stock, Target out of stock, Amazon not available. Dang. So I don't know where to tell you to buy. Oh no, recall alert. Click here for more recall information. Oh, the Beatles have been recalled. Now I'm so sad. Never mind. It was something completely different. I was sucked in. It was like clickbait, only important clickbait about recalls. But it's not the little people. They have not been recalled. Everyone calm down. It's fine. Okay, here's my little... I think these are adorable. I would like a set. But little people are not what they look like when I was a little people. When they now have feet. When I was little, they just had little round... I want to say round bottoms, which is not exactly conveying the correct. Yeah, so the bottom portion of the little person was just a round circle. They didn't have legs or feet. And then all of the little people accessories just had little round holes, and so they plopped right in. Chair, we had a camper, and the truck had little holes. The school bus had little holes. You just popped them in. We even had a toilet for the camper, of course. And so yeah, I don't mean to once again be telling you how old I am, but I am sad that the little people of my childhood would no longer go with the little people of current childhood. Oh well, hey, we can all coexist together, right? Old little people, new little people. My Sesame Street little people from when I was a child could hang out with my Beatles little people from my adulthood. I think it works. At any rate, we are going to take our first break of the podcast, and when we come back, we'll be talking about snake doodles, among other things. So stay tuned. You're listening to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast, and I will be right back.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Welcome back to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast. Our next story is an animal story, but thankfully not a animal story as we often get in the world of social media and the internet and all of those good things. But no, this is, and it's about snakes, and I know not everybody is a fan of snakes, but snakes actually are pretty fascinating creatures, and well, you know, the latest thing that seems to be happening is that people are either using Sharpies on regular pictures, or they are using, probably not Sharpies on regular pictures, but they are using Photoshop or whatever to make it look like Sharpies on regular pictures. And so according to this article, which is from Bored Panda, some time ago, a wise person decided to doodle hands on a cute picture of a snake he found. The result was so satisfying, he shared it on the internet. And then the doodle war began. Some time ago, we asked our readers to take part in this war, and we are so glad we did. Snakes don't always have the best reputation and are certainly not the cutest, but it turns out that all they needed were some expressive arms and hands. See, all snakes need to be cute is just a little jazz. They just need jazz hands. Poor snakes were born without jazz hands. So these pictures are hilarious. I mean, there's a snake that is, this first one is, the snake is, it looks like an albino snake, first of all, but it's coiled and it looks like it's going to strike. But then somebody gave it arms with finger guns. And so now, instead of being this snake that is going to bite you and kill you, it is, it's doing a little, you know, hey, kind of thing. And it's pretty fabulous. But according to National Geographic, if you want a little more information, there are more than 3,000 species of snakes on the planet. 3,000 species. Whew. They are found everywhere except Antarctica, Iceland, and Ireland. Antarctica, Iceland, Ireland, Greenland, and New Zealand. About 600 species are venomous, and only about 200, 7%, are able to kill or significantly wound a human. Actually, I didn't realize that there were so few on the venomous side when I think of snakes. I mean, that leaves 2,400 non-venomous species of snakes. That's pretty impressive. Non-venomous snakes, which range from harmless garter snakes to the not-so-harmless python, yeah, okay, they can still squeeze you to death, dispatch their victims by swallowing them alive or constricting them to death. Whether they kill by striking with venom or squeezing, nearly all snakes eat their food whole. in sometimes astoundingly large portions. Ugh, thanks, National Geographic. Actually, that is interesting. Okay, a snake on a towel, but somebody drew arms on it, so it looks like it is leaning its chin on its hand, looking kind of bored. A snake. A snake says, I need my morning coffee. And when you draw arms and a cup of coffee, the snake just looks completely disgruntled and like it's too early in the morning. Almost all snakes, again, according to National Geographic, are covered in the scales, and as reptiles, they're cold-blooded and must regulate their body temperature externally. Scales serve several purposes. They trap moisture in arid climates, in arid climates, and reduce friction as the snake moves. There have been several species of snakes discovered that are mostly scaleless, but even those have scales on their bellies. Snakes also have forked tongues, which they flick in different directions to smell their surroundings. That's how they know when danger or food is nearby. Oh my gosh. This one is not only got arms on it, but they did little sunglasses. It's a cobra. Little sunglasses and a saxophone. Okay, you really should look at these because I'm not just going to keep describing them to you, but they really are adorable. Who knew? Yeah, you should definitely go to Bored Panda and find snakes with arms because, yeah, I think you'll thank me. It's pretty entertaining. But moving on from snakes with arms, because someday you have to move on from snakes with arms, sadly, we are going to talk about Sean Bean. Sean Bean is an actor, if you aren't familiar with him. And it turns out that Sean Bean has been killed 23 times. Not Sean Bean himself. Sean Bean's characters have been killed 23 times. His most maybe well-known roles wherein he was killed. He was Boromir in Lord of the Rings, and he was killed in the first movie of the trilogy. So he didn't even get to go, he didn't even get to continue that quest. Well, I mean, Boromir dies in the first book too. It wasn't just like it was because it was Sean Bean. But he also played Ned Stark in Game of Thrones, and people thought, well, it's Sean Bean. Well, maybe people didn't think because they'd seen Sean Bean roles before, but Ned Stark, dead. So many people on Game of Thrones are dead, though. So Sean Bean, 23 times his character has been killed, and he said that he's started to rethink how he accepts roles. He doesn't want to continue to be killed because he says it's just predictable. People expect him to die. And he made some comment about his character was supposed to die in a role, and he was like, really? No. And they said, well, can he just be severely wounded? So there's even a campaign, hashtag something like Stop Killing Sean Bean. I think that's what it is, Stop Killing Sean Bean. And there's a picture of Sean Bean wearing a shirt with the hashtag, which I think is appropriate. So this is just an example to me of weirdness that shows up on the internet but still makes me smile. I mean, that's the thing with the internet anymore is you get, you notice something. Sean Bean gets killed a lot in his roles. Well, that kind of stinks. But then you realize other people have noticed it too because they have made memes. They have made, things pop up online, and that makes me laugh. So I lost my train of thought, but it does make me laugh. Stop killing Sean Bean. I agree. I like him. But this also makes me think of The Vicar of Dibley, which is a BBC show. If you've ever seen it, it is about a female Anglican priest in the fictional town of Dibley. It was a while ago that it was on, but it's one of my favorite BBC shows, starring Dawn French. And Dawn French, the picture changes in her home, but she is the vicar, the priest in this village, and above her desk in her home she has a picture of Jesus, and next to it a picture of Sean Bean. Sometimes it's other actors, but for a while she had a picture of Sean Bean, and she often talks to Jesus and the celebrity picture simultaneously during the episodes, and it always made me laugh. So I have a soft spot in my heart for Sean Bean simply because of The Vicar of Dibley. Weird? Sure, but hey, you gotta find your fun where you can, right? Okay, we are going to take our second break of the podcast. When we come back, we are going to talk about some viral cottage cheese, which could go in many directions. So you're going to have to come back after the break to find out what is viral about this cottage cheese. So stay tuned. Listening to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast, and I will be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast. So, cottage cheese. Some people are fans, some people are not. We once had an intern at a place where I worked, a high school intern, nicest, sweetest kid, but he was just horrified by the thought of cottage cheese. So one day when we were out to lunch, he and another coworker ordered some cottage cheese just because neither of them had tried it. So I commend them for trying it. It's kind of, I don't know if it's an acquired taste or if it is just something that you either love or hate. But this is a cottage cheese tub that has gone viral. Not viral, well, actually it might be viral for more than one reason, because it could be filled with, okay, so this is bacteria, not virus, but work with me here. But it went viral online because it was left in an office fridge for 7 years. That's a health hazard, people. So this is these, when you think about office refrigerators, you tend to think about things that get left that are in there past their expiration date. You get the snarky notes about don't steal my food. Then you get the people who steal the food. The office refrigerator is a place of much drama. But this story is from Reddit user JG Bones, also known as Julia from Philadelphia, and she shared the office legend that is a tub of pineapple cottage cheese. Okay, does it have chunks of pineapple in it? I would assume so. I mean, cottage cheese is often served with fruit, but I didn't realize that they made pineapple cottage cheese. I don't get out much. So this little tub of cheesy weirdness has survived in the fridge for 7 years now. Why? Okay, anyway. Happy anniversary to this little tub of pineapple cottage cheese. It has now survived 7 years in our work fridge without being thrown out. I take a picture of it each year, Julia wrote. And there is, in fact, a picture of her with this each year. So Julia said that her secret is that the cheese is indeed hers. She says, I bought it back in 2012, opened it, tasted it, hated it, and threw it in the fridge. So apparently it's low fat and has weird fake pineapple in it. Ew. Okay. It managed to get pushed to the back. I forgot about it. No one touched it. And then sure enough, it managed to survive a whole year with no one touching it. Then it became a joke. No one wanted to throw it out. Have they opened it recently? The cheese is in a tub with the lid on. The seal has been broken, but it's never the perpetrator of any weird odors. We moved offices earlier this year, and now we have more room, 2 fridges, no smells, and we're a happy family. Besides, everyone respects the cheese. It has been there a long time. I admire their commitment, but wow, again, I'm just wondering, there's no smells. Clearly they aren't opening it, I'm thinking, because it would definitely smell if you opened it. Julia is waiting for the right time to open up the cheese or throw it away, either when she leaves the job or it hits 10 years residence in the fridge. Or maybe I'll bestow it on another colleague, she adds with a laugh. I haven't opened it since I bought it, so I wonder what it looks like inside. My boyfriend is incredibly against it staying in the fridge at home, so it's got a bunch of Post-it notes saying, don't toss, and everyone here in the office knows not to touch it. And there's a close-up of the cottage cheese container with the expiration date, which was September 17th, 2012. Wow, non-fat pineapple cream cheese, or cottage cheese. Interesting. Oh, the first comment makes me laugh. I'm depressed to think that a container of cottage cheese lasted longer at a company than I ever did. Oh, I'm sorry. That is sad, but also kind of funny. Finally, we shall talk about the fact that today is Talk Like a Pirate Day. Every year, September 19th, Talk Like a Pirate Day. And I was never fully sure why it was September 19th, but it turns out that this was created by two men from Oregon, two Oregonians, and they created it because they were playing a game of racquetball. Of course, doesn't that make sense? So this is from Albany, Oregon, and the holiday, which is known as Talk Like a Pirate Day, was started during a game of racquetball between two friends. The quote is, "We started taunting each other with pirate phrases like, 'Arr, that be a fine cannonade,' and 'You slapped that one off me missing mast, matey.'" Can't even say that. We had so much fun doing this game with pirate words that we decided there ought to be one day in every year where every man, woman, and child is encouraged to talk like a pirate, said Mark Summers, otherwise known as Captain Slappy. Of course he is. And there's a picture of the two of them in their pirate gear, looking very festive and entertaining. So he and his friend, John Bauer, Old Chumbucket, as he's otherwise known, played the game on June 6th, but knew since it was D-Day, that day was off limits. So we settled on September 19th, which was my ex-wife's birthday. We weren't being mean. The date was just stuck in my head, said Summers. And it stuck for around. I mean, for the first 7 years, the holiday was observed by close friends. It was really simple. It was like about 4 or 5 friends all knew about it, and we would call each other at work and talk like a pirate day and go arg and hang up, and that was the extent of Talk Like a Pirate Day back then. 7 years later, they pitched the idea to a columnist at the Miami Herald. After his column was printed, the holiday took off. Pretty soon, Mark and John were getting phone calls from all over. Summers said, "We're getting interviews with media outlets from Australia to the BBC, New Zealand, Ireland, Denmark, South America. We were hearing from everywhere from people who were just excited to be playing pirate." Never expecting it to become what it is today, Summers says he's happy to be a part of a somewhat cult holiday. "We gave the pirate community a Christmas. This is their holiday. It's been kind of fun to be the Santa to a whole new celebration." That is awesome. I have never thought, I always think about how the holidays get started because, as I've said before, there are multiple holidays on every day of the year. If you ever go to one of those calendar sites and look at the holidays, you will see that there are just a million holidays. And so I always kind of wonder how they get started. And it's fun to know the backstory of this fun pirate day. In conclusion, I will say that tomorrow is September 20th because today is September 19th, Talk Like a Pirate Day. And it's the day we're supposed to, I don't mean me, I'm not going, but the day that people are supposed to be storming Area 51. And you know that there will be reporting on what actually happened because there's going to be news stories. There's going to be stories. Who knows if anything will actually happen, but there will be stories regardless of people. You know, they'll be there. They'll be looking out for people to storm Area 51. There will probably be food trucks or something. I don't even know. I know they were talking about doing a festival at one point. I'm not sure that ever came about, but hey, as always, I will bring you that news next time on the next episode, because we need to know what happened at Area 51 on September 20th. So please do join me for Monday's episode of the GSMC Social Media News Podcast. In the meantime, have a wonderful weekend, and like I said, join me on Monday so we can find out what's trending.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Social Media Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.